And here we go. It's going to be a lot of boos and whoos for all but the top team who walk away with the prize. Again, this is the wild card match to kick it off. We'll have 6 matches after. That'll be the start of the grand finals. But right now, we need to round out the competition here on Halloween. And the question is, who will be the ultimate protagonist? Who's going to unmask all of those imposters and pretenders and rise to the top and claim their spot just for a chance to compete for the Axe of Champions? And right now, looking at it, we can see already a number of teams battling it out at Stark Industries. So somebody's tournament is going to come to a close right away. As we head on over, we're over at Coral Castle towards the side right now. Coral Cove, Sweaty Sands over here. And you can see one of the favorites, the week 1, Qualifier 1, Qualifier 2 winner, slipped Qualifier 3, and then actually had a really tough road to even get into the wild card match here as they finished 16th in their heat, but here they are being able to get into competition. And so far, we already see some eliminations popping off. Toos Oslo being knocked out there, and some trios want to avoid being eliminated. Scram actually being full knocked right off of the bat, Sancho. And we're going to be keeping an eye on that top left a lot during this game, because every single time you see that trio number drop 1, somebody else's tournament is over.
Look. Let's keep it real, all right? I know we all have wishful thinking here, ladies and gentlemen, folks everywhere around the world, but this 4ZR team, they're not supposed to be here. Going back-to-back in qualifiers in week 1 and week 2, I mean, Reese gave him that stamp of approval, predictions after prediction, and we all thought that they were like the big hitters coming out into the heats, but they didn't qual. They didn't make it, and that's why they're here. But there's already a couple of trios not even going to advance. And actually, in our heat, this trio right here of 200, 200, 200, of Maestro, of Enzar, they were right on the cusp. They slipped right out of that top 8, and they fell to top 9 in a matter of a couple of points. Elims, placement points. So they're out here with a vengeance, and they're out here to prove a point. And I like this aggressive play, because you can't be too gun-shy. You got to have that confidence to get you into that in-game situation so you have a chance. And look at that Ovation trio already going down.
Rajas are already down there. They're not coming through. They're trying to push forward and convert on it, especially if you're able to get this Quinjet right by the lumberyard. You're able to very quickly upgrade the rest of your weapons, and we talked about it. This was the trio we saw yesterday who all they had to do was hold on. All they had to do was hold on in the final game, but they got dropped out, and now they're here fighting for their tournament lives. But so far, the fight's going okay as they're able to force out One Lusha to completely disengage from the situation, able to pick up 2 eliminations. No incentive to push, but all the incentive to sit there and make sure those reboot cards expire, as we've already seen 4 trios be completely knocked out, with one of them being Wakey, Michael, and Snappy. They're gone. Sayonara. See you later. A team that we saw in the bubble yesterday from EU Heat 1. 2 of our FNCS squad winners fall in the opening moments of the wildcard match, and that just goes to show how ruthless the competition is.
And this is my pick. This is my prediction. And the ability to pick who's going to win this wild card has probably the most toughest thing I ever done as a caster. And I'm sure all the analysts on the analyst desk agree with me that it's literally a shot in the dark. But this is my probably most accurate shot in the dark I can make. Bato, Leo the Crack, and Airwalks. I just have a feeling about Airwalk. You know, he's been around. I feel like he has this cold-blooded mentality. He could keep the trio calm. He knows how to just win because he was like around during those times where it was just about the Victory Royale sundown.
And especially, too, Halloween is the time of his Pro-Am duo partner there, RL Grime, and he wants to be able to capitalize on it right now. Again, Airwalk's best known for winning those back-to-back Pro-Ams right during the World Cup days, but also a celebrated competitive player. He knows when everything is on the line, he's able to put his team together, and they can walk away with the Victory Royale. And that's actually one thing I kind of want to talk about. Looking back at my prediction now, I don't want to say I feel bad about it because that team is very strong. But that team's not necessarily known for winning games, which is all that matters here. That team is known for being able to consistently make it into late, capitalize on key eliminations and rack up points over the course of it. I believe in one of their victors, they actually did one of their week qualifiers. They didn't win a single one of those 12 matches. So kind of looking back on it in hindsight, I don't want to say I'm a little more hesitant of that prediction, but that's something to keep in mind, right? It doesn't matter how consistent you are. This is one game where all you have to do is make it to the end. And you talked about the social media taste we got in Middle East. We also got a taste out of OCE when Aussie was able to watch that #1 team go through, and you could hear the elation when they had finally clutched up.
And who is going to have that celebratory victory royale? The kind of that great taste of victory, the sweet taste of victory before heading into grand finals. And who's going to take that momentum going forward? And on the opposite side of momentum was Kaspersa, Fixie, and Zini's squad. They were in the top 5 the entire Heat 1. For those of you, I know all the Heats hype simultaneously, and we were able to watch and broadcast here these Heat 1s with the EU region. This was the trio that got into this big old situation, all based on series points. They got there. They made a big statement in day 1, and then throughout the time, as time went on, they slowly slipped out of that top 8, and that is why they're here today. And this is one of those trios that we were all rooting for, the underdog in our Heat. I'm excited to see what they can do because they have that victory royale. They have that capability. They got one in day 1 in Heat 1, so they need one right here and right now. And just to mention your pick, Sundown, you're right. No victory royales, and actually 4ZR's trio literally had a pop-off game just to get to that 16th place, just to have a right to fight and compete in this wild card match right now.
And it was the final game. They were always on the outside looking in. They had one of possibly the most unfortunate Heats experience, but in the final moments able to put it together to even get to right here. But right now we're watching potentially another tournament end as Exalti gets picked up, thrown away, and taken out. That's another thing that we have to consider here. There's actually a little bit more aggression than necessarily I anticipated. I figured there'd be a little bit more safety, but EU is staying pretty much true to what we saw through the entirety of the broadcast, where the first couple circles, you're immediately looking for your fast drop, and then you're going and fighting because, hey, you're worried about Storm Surge anyway. EU prefers to knock it off by taking those initial fights and kind of winning them if you can, rather than the NA East route of, hey, how much can we tag somebody from a safe distance? As now you see players realizing, like, hey, we can't afford to take any of this damage because somebody else is not taking that storm damage right now. And again, we're going to reiterate it time and time again. The only thing that matters is the win. So something else we're going to start looking at is in the inventories. Who has floppers? Who has medkits? Who has shockwaves? Where are the chug splashes? Because these are the things that are going to matter when we get into the late game high ground takes in the 5th and the 7th circle, but then also when we go to full zone close in the 9th circle, all of those meds are going to be piled onto one key person because all that matters is the victory. And if you can guarantee it by having more meds than somebody else, somebody is going to go that route. Somebody is going to have them stacked in that route, and you can't basically bank on relying on it. So it's going to be one heck of a finish.
And it's so interesting to see. In our grand finals, of course, we have the Mitros and we have the Benjis, and all these power POIs, these mythical POIs are now up for grabs here. And we already seen a couple of trios kind of benefit from that. Now, this is what's really interesting is Refsguard, Scram, and Stompies. This trio had a very interesting exchange on Twitter. And essentially they were like, hey, you know, my bad, we didn't make it. And one of the trio mates stepped up and said, listen, we win together, we lose together. Let's get it. Let's knock it out of the park here today. I know I'm paraphrasing that, but that is exactly what you need in the trio, mate. You pick each other up. If you lose together, great. But when you win together, it's because you learn from your losses. So learn from your losses. You take those L's and turn them into dubs. Can't Scram, Refguard, and Stompy turn the L that they had in Heats into that mega dub to get them in grands. And this is one of the picks I had. Who had this pick here? I got to look at here. It is Reese. Hey, when you get that Reese stamper approval, we all know Reese is from the future. I know he dressed up as Shio, but he should have dressed up as Fortnite Nostradamus because all Reese's picks go through. So Reese, here we go. Here's your pick of Refsguard, Stompy, and Scram. Things are looking up for them because they already got 3 elims.
They have 3 elims, and again, we talk about kind of looking forward to the inventory. 2 floppers and a medkit already, which gives them 2 options in terms of that heal off, or potentially the opportunity to kind of combo the three of them together if they're able to execute right. Again, the medkits at the end can be a little bit difficult, but we're going to hop on board here. We can see Fury Legendary. We talked about that initial fight where Rajasser and Lusha ended up being forced out, and I'm assuming right now, yes, he's below Storm Surge. 9 players are going to be threatened by this. He's 42 and a solo, which means he has to go hunting or that damage is going to start coming in very quickly. For those of you unfamiliar with Storm Surge, it does 25 damage every 10 seconds to the most passive players in the lobby when we reach a certain threshold. Currently, that's going to be zone number 3. The number you care about is in the top left. That 79 number needs to go to 70, and then Storm Surge will turn off.
And this is Legendary's moment. His teammates are out. Can Legendary find a way, sneak his way into that Victory Royale? Stranger things that happen, unexpected. That's the beauty of Fortnite. And he's doing really well getting tags here, Sundown.
And he's above Storm Surge now. You can see it right side of your screen, 37 above. So those 2 tags just being the thinnest of margins. This is just the damage he needs to keep him above. And you can see he's just trying to play the edge of the zone, because if he gets caught out, that's it. Tournament over and done with. As you can see, Loft actually getting picked up. He's doing a good job scavenging through, hitting these mushrooms along the river, just getting whatever excess utility he can.
And his inventory is in shambles. His ride is in shambles. But can Legendary turn sicko mode? And these are the moments that you're talking about. Already, you just heard that bullet just whizzing right by him. He immediately starts building because he knows if he gets lobby focused, it's a matter of time. But look at the confidence and taking these storm tags and moving in. This rotation is so deadly. Look to the right here, folks. 3 trios are sitting there, and then, of course, that ambush in the tunnel. Legendary it's so scary, man.
This is so scary, and I was about to say, I apologize, but this is the one time I'd advocate. He's a solo. Grab that thermal flopper and pop it. You need all the information possible here. You're on the edge of zone. You need to find where these players are. And the problem is when you go in like this and you immediately start switching over to hard mats, everyone's going to focus you. He's done. He's over. Dusted. Fury Legendary, not living up to his name in either aspect there, going down. And it's super unfortunate, but his tournament, his FNCS is over. And again, every single time we see a trio go out, that's it for them. Like a candle to the wind, they'll be snuffed out right now here on board with Rotary and Stormy, right? Unfortunately, playing 2 versus 3, so going to have to bring it back a little bit. But if there's ever a trio or a duo who's able to do it, it's these 2, and you can already see banking on it a little bit with the 3 floppers in his inventory and 4 in Stormy, right? So effectively 7 if they're able to get those over, and plenty of extra shield fish as well. So going for a very fishing heavy strategy in this Victory Royale based game.
And that really benefits them because Storm and Rotary and this land essentially down in the swamp area. So they hit up all the fishing spots, hit up all those opportunities. We kind of mentioned that a trio should kind of work their way into a fishing spot territory. Now it's up to Storm and Rotary to kind of get this done, because I don't see their 3rd trio here. So maybe an unfortunate situation, but Storm and Rotary, who very had an inconsistent ride throughout the qualifiers, got into heat, so after changing up their strategies a little bit, now they're going to have to rely as a duo going to a trio. So already we're seeing some obstacles that our trios have to overcome. Solos, duos, shamble inventories. But Rotary and Stormy, right, they have to get this done considering that Kiridachi's not around. Another trio that we had a great opportunity to watch, as you see, to become legends. Rifa, Lazary, all going right there. And then you see the pick. Someone picked this one here. I got to take a look. Shayo's pick. Yes.
Shayo's pick.
Shayo's pick. No doubt now leaning in a little bit here as Mexi, Astro, and Hardfine are making their way, and they themselves have some power weapons. And look at this, using a rift, and they're going to have to glide into the danger zone for a brief moment, now finding a nice safe zone spot. Pretty almost center here, Sundown, and they get themselves a supply crate as a reward.
Yeah, they're able to fly into the danger zone there, but no problem, and got rewarded as well with a little supply drop directly on top of their heads. So fortunate timing, but sometimes everything needs to fall your way. Have some additional floppers as well as the pepper. We'll see. You can see 2 medkits as well in Astro's inventory, so they're going to benefit from that fact. The supply drop is going to be helpful from them, but you saw the Become Legends trio diving on top of somebody. Versa actually going to end up dropping there at the hands of Rifle. Void also being taken out. They were in 8th yesterday going into the final game, but were also unable to hold on, and some key shields going over. You can already see them starting to stack the meds onto the priority person. Again, that's all for that late game opportunity, as now we're going to swing over to one of the edge zone fights. This was the first team that hit the rift, and another very consistent trio. They've played together for a long time. They're going wall to wall, and they're taking the fights. They're getting a good and quick finish, but they need to be careful to not take any excess damage. That's Slicks, Rifla, and Lariz have become legends. You can see already sitting on 3 eliminations, 6 shockwaves. My lord, that is a fantastic refresh. 2 crash pads as well if they opt to end up taking them. So we should be looking to see this team set up 4th circle for a high ground take.
Here we go. I'm sure as Mantra is having some difficulties as well. Everything is so intense and so close. Rifla's trio right here, I mean, everybody picked that they would do well, get in the heats and qualify, but this is the story that we're seeing. So many people slipping into the wildcard match, so many decorated champions slipping into this wildcard match, but only one will rise out of it all and get into the grand finals. They're going to be the trio 33rd here, and we all throughout the Fortnite competition, we've seen that the last person, the last team to get in sometimes wins it all. And the momentum could carry you right here. I don't think the trios in the grand finals are going to feel this intensity until day 2. This is at an all-time high, never before seen in a trio stage. One trio advancing with the Victory Royale. Can it be this Become Legends trio? We always almost there. We are in the 4th zone. We're soon going to get to the 5th zone, the half in and half out, and after that, it is 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9. Moving zones with 9 being the ultimate closing time.
And you can see right now that Storm Surge notification popping up that will kick in once this zone does end up closing. The next number you care about for that is in your top left. We need to see that go to 50 players, so you're going to see a lot of action being forced out right now as Nate actually able to pick up a key down onto Milwaukee there. Nate also getting a knock onto Onyx. Slicks getting some fire returned on him, but some Become Legends crime there as Edison going to be knocked, and they're going to try and continue the pressure going forward. Rifla also raining down shots. That's 2 of them going down there. It's all going to be on Denomination to try and hold off and prevent his teammates, but you can see the double stacked on top of you. The whole lobby's focusing right now, Sancho.
Man, lobby focus is the scariest thing ever, man. Before you know it, you're going to get treated out of the lobby. It's double toil and trouble all then and there when the lobby focuses on you. And here it is, another trio here. We're like, elims don't matter. You're right here, Sundown. It's all about inventory, and it's all about health, how strong you are, how much mats do you have. Do you have any heals and shields to kind of withstand any kind of pressure? Do you have power weapons? It all gets stripped down. And looks like, look at Bobo's inventory. You see that? The cabbages. Can Mr. Savage's influence here? The cabbages for Savage. Influence and give the power to Bobo. Can he pop it and get strong? 15 cabbages in inventory, so you're gonna know we're gonna have some zany heal off plays, some crazy storm rotations with the heals. I'm excited to see how it all goes down as we are baby steps getting closer and closer to end game.
But what an awful bouncer right there, throwing himself out into the zone and separating away from her team. We're going to hop on board here as we see the rotations come out. Storm Surge is going to be pressing on some of these players. You can see the 62 tags come out. Kezix down to less than a sliver of HP, barely going to avoid getting knocked there. I mean, it looked like it was one, but they have bandage cannons. However, taking damage now forces you to use utility you otherwise would have had. So that bandage cannon is going to have to recharge. They might end up utilizing chug splashes, but if they don't have those now, they're going to be in trouble. And you can see Zynie being taken down there in the feed. That's going to turn off Storm Surge. Shockwave comes out. Nate going up and challenging, finds a big 100 tag, and Zara gets destroyed. Kazakh slow, we talked about it. Low on resources, gets taken down. Edit going through, pushing into the box, finds the finish, tries to not lock it up to get whatever mats they can. Kazakh is down. Nate's sitting on 4 elims, but the elims don't matter. They're down to a duo now, and one of the favorites. It's all going to be on the back of Nate and 4ZR to bring it home. The only excess utility they have is that bandage cannon.
And it is the 6 rotating zone here. It's going to go all the way up to the northwest area, and we're going to see the chaos unfold. If this is your first time watching Fortnite competitive, boy, oh boy, you picked a doozy to watch, because it's all about the Victory Royale. This is the wild card. The 33rd team will be able to compete with this ticket right here, this golden ticket, the Charlie buckets of it all. I'm interested to see how it unfolds, considering that we've always seen throughout the entire heats, low ground has been so great to win tournaments, but it's not about winning a tournament. It's just about getting this one match in the Victory Royale.
You just need one game, and especially we've seen the low ground and the mid ground teams. They've done it by being hip-to-hip trios and just outlasting. They don't have any late utility to go. I'm keeping an eye on the top left feed, but I also want to know where the Become Legends guys are, because they had 12 shockwaves combined, and on this zone, that's going to give them priority on height. Right now, you can see Rotary still doing his best. Him and Stormy Wright, without Kiriachi, trying to do it as a duo. We still have Scram, Refsguard up as well. Forziar and Nate out of shields. Forziar trying to do it all by himself. Finds Gonzo with a sick peanut butter edit there. That's the box fighting skills over the triangle. The quick hop in the shot comes through. Fixie goes down. Kaspersa gets the confirm onto Rotary. He's out. Vato gets knocked as well. The confirm comes through for Forziar for his first elims. Bouncers in front of him. The 71 tag into the box. He finds Hera as well, trying to make the run as a duo. A huge refresh and more mats gives them priority as 7th zone is revealed, and it keeps going forward, Sancho.
Here we go. Forziar's momentum with Nate's are keep pushing forward. The back-to-back qualifying champions essentially in the round 3s, slipping all the way down from a fall group to grace, needing a clutch moment to get into this, falling into the 16th place in their heat. Can they overcome it all and be the Victory Royale? Yes, they are answering the call for this brief moment. Forziar, Nate, duo, trio, cleaning up on the low ground, but the story is, can they survive height? We all know height has a strong probability of getting that Victory Royale.
Floppers, he found a flopper, has the bandage cannon as well. We're keeping an eye on it. You can see Nate, they're just loading the heals onto Nate right now. You can see has the Chug Splash. They're trying to make sure they can be box to box with double bandage cannon, Chug Splash, and floppers. 6 gets the pick there, but they're continuing on the low ground. There's 5 trios remaining, but somebody in the box. Nate takes a huge hit. Forziar gets backed up. Can he find the shots he needs to? Ops using Chug Splash for some heals. Will that cost him? As Forziar is separated, 150 onto Scram. Can they get the conversion? They need to stay ahead of the zone. 10 elims, but the elims don't matter. You have to stay in the match. That's all that matters. And Forziar is down. Nate doubles back into Storm and uses much needed white heals to just survive, as up on the high ground looking down is a complete and total different Nate. And Dave raining shots from above. Exponential gets the finish on the Forziar. So we have Exponential and Nate trying their best to dethrone, while the other Nate and Dave rain shots from above. Nate dipping back into the Storm, looking for a bandage cannon, looking for heals. Will it be enough? I think this is a missed timing. He's popping a bandage as best he can, but he can't find any more. He's going to go down in the end. Grizzy Nate falls and they're out. We will have a straight up 3v3 for the last spot, Sancho.
Here we go, low ground versus high. Who's gonna punch their way in as the 33rd team into the grand finals? It all comes down to this. Every map matters, every build matters, every shot matters, because it is gonna give you that right to compete. And there goes a crash pad up and they get sent out. Can Exalti, Nate, and Dave close out the door and get the victory out? Oh, Exalti is really low, really low. Astro goes down. Who's gonna win? Yes, it is Nate, Dave, and Exalti with the great finish and the Victory Royale, baby!
At the end, they were able to close it out. They stayed together, and we talked about it. The important thing was maintaining your trio. The low ground being able to contest, but it cost them too much. And in the end, while high ground win games and low ground wins tournament, when there's one single game on the line, Dave and Nate and co were able to wrap it up and secure a spot. You can see SB Nate, Spash Dave, and Bobo Exalti on the back of their 9 eliminations will be our 33rd and final team joining us in the grand finals. And what a ride it was, but in the